just starting it.
Okay.
And then we went through each phase of it.
Mm-hmm.
And then the final stage is where we did a one-on-one session every Monday
Okay.
at a certain time for
Okay.
an hour.
Okay.
Just me and the counselor. And he mentioned that after this session was over, he recommended that I would go into a long-term
Long-term.
wellness plan
Okay.
to help me with my situation.
Mm-hmm.
And he said that Menlo Park had an area, but with me transferring to Vegas, Las Vegas, I have to see what type of wellness plan they have structured down there. Menlo Park has an inpatient program, and I'm looking for an outpatient program where
I see.
I can come in, say, like this session,
Mm-hmm.
for about an hour to 2 hours, 3 times a week, and then shorten it or lengthen it with the discrepancy, or I'm not going to say discrepancy, with the counselor's input on whether or not I should go longer than a year.
Okay.
To really get to the root of the problem.
Right. And have you been advised as far as what you can expect from the wellness program with the VA?
Yes. He said it's going to be it'll be rough.
Mm-hmm.
He said, like he says, it's no easy way to putting it or sugarcoating it, as they say. It is what it is. It's going to be a personal evaluation of yourself, going into the deepest, darkest parts and bringing out things that have been locked up for so long. In order for you, he said, to grow or to come outside of your box, you first have to be willing to do that type of assessment.
Right.
And that's,
right.
And
how did that make you feel when you first heard about this sort of in-depth, this darkness, this deep part of you that would have to be, or that would be addressed?
At first, I was all for it, but I started weighing the options. What my relationship with my family, how is that going to affect them? My brothers, my sisters, my mom, my dad, my nephews, my nieces, and soon to be wife.
Your wife.
How will this affect me being able to communicate with her? And instead of me saying the old words, well, you just don't understand me.
Right.
I don't want that to happen when I'm trying to start a new life.
Have any of the skills that you've acquired since being in the HHS program or through our tutoring, have you learned anything or developed any skill that might actually benefit you in dealing with this new wellness plan that you're considering?
Yes, a lot of skills. As far as looking at the whole picture, not just from my eyes, but from other people's eyes that are around me, I can really get feedback. And it also helps me to say, okay, I see the picture for what it's worth. But if I go over to this side and look, I see this picture from a different angle.
Right.
So I'm getting a real lot of input, positive input from people that I know, especially my wife. We talk about it.
You talk about it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
She supports me 100%. You know, like she says, we're not going to let this one little obstacle stop us
Mm-hmm.
or get in the way.
Mm.
Because if you use this to get in the way, then you're pushing yourself off into the corner
Right.
to build your wall to where nobody can get to you.
Right. Right.
And that's something you don't want.
Right.
Yeah.
So the idea of building a wall is something that you're not going to really benefit from.
No.
But you also recognize that you've got this other element of some concern about going into this sort of deep area. What would you like to consider going forward as far as um, some of your positive strengths that you have that could help you in going forward in making the decision as to when you may be ready for the program?
Mm-hmm.
Or are you going to just take some more time before you consider the program itself?
Well, the positive strengths that I have is my determination
Mm-hmm.
not to build a wall,
Right.
not to let this stop me from accomplishing what I need to accomplish.
Mm-hmm.
As they say in HHS, you have resiliency
Mm-hmm.
to move on, to do it.
And you've exhibited a lot of that by, first off, coming here.
Yes.
And certainly your involvement with your classmates. You developed a very strong support system. It's gotten much stronger. So you have a lot of positive assets to help you with this transition or this next move to this program.
Yes.
So having said that, do you think you might be ready to have that conversation with your wife and maybe at least have the conversation with her to start preparing her for when you might want to do it? Not necessarily giving it a date or time,
Right.
but at least start having a general open conversation about it.
Mm-hmm.
Make it a collaborative type of decision-making process.
Okay.
Have you thought about that?
Yes, I have.
Good.
We've talked, and like she said, you know, I don't want you to get overwhelmed.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want you to get stressed out.
Mm-hmm.
But together, we can take this one step
Right.
at a time.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
just don't run right smack into it,
Right.
because you'll hurt yourself.
Right.
And hurt the ones around you. But if we take it one step at a time, we'll make it through.
One of the things we talked about was the fact that your writing had improved.
Mm-hmm.
You've become more confident with your brainstorming, one of the skills that we worked on, your ability to analyze your thoughts, quotes, things like that. Do you think that maybe journaling about this was something that we had talked about before you even talked to her? Just collecting your thoughts, organizing them in a way that can help you to prepare for having the discussion, taking this in very small steps. Is that something that might appeal to you?
Yes, it has. You know, just by, I think, talking to her, and when I'm talking to her about certain things, I say it, and then I go back over it, and then I add more to it, and I says, and then I get to the end, I'll stop, and then I'll go back in my mind and come back with the rest of it to where she really understands what the process is. And even herself has told me, she says, you know, you just have to sit down and don't leave it all bottled upstairs. Put it out on paper.
On paper, yeah.
You know, write about it. It's not going to make sense when you're writing it.
Right.
But you can go back and put it together to where it does make sense. So, yeah.
So on a scale of 1 to 10, and 10 being when you're ready to actually enroll in the program, if you had to just say right now, where do you honestly think you are?
Honestly?
Mm-hmm.
Whew. I say about 8.5.
Well, that's pretty high. I mean, that's pretty high. I mean, that says a lot about your growth, because when I go back and look at my notes, the issue of procrastination that you had talked